What is going on, guys? It's me, Antonio, and Roy is here as well. Roy's on the road. Roy, how's it going, man?
Great, man.
Yep,
Driving
we're
through
just
Texas right now.
nice. Are you doing anything in Texas or
Nope, just driving through.
nice? How's the? There were a lot of storms actually, like near Louisiana. I don't. I think it should be okay now, but if you're driving in that
No,
direction,
we're north of Texas. North Texas.
oh, okay, that's good. Well, I wanted to maybe open up the lines. I know some other people probably want to join, just continue the discussion, either about the Champions League, the Serie A, and our players. We may do like a player tier list if people want to do that. That I was just thinking that could be a good idea. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Um, Roy, tell me again who your favorite is to win the Scudetto right now, and just why you think that.
I don't know. It's really tough to say right now. I think it's an open race. I think. I mean, if I were to go just by what we saw right now, it's two games. I have to give it to either Milan, Lazio, or Roma.
Wow, so you're not putting Inter in that conversation.
Maybe.
So why? So what? So in the first two games, Inter hasn't convinced you, or like what is the main reason?
No, I think they're up there. As I said, I think honestly, it's open right now. All seven can take.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I think Inter, Joaquin Correa, their signings look good. It's just, yeah, it's such an open. It's going to be too close to call. Um. So yeah, I still think for me the teams that can actually win it are Milan, Inter, and Juventus. One of those three teams are going to win. I don't see another team winning. When was the last time a team besides Milan, Inter, and Juventus won the league?
But Roma, 2000.
Right. It's been a long time. Could happen though.
And I think Lazio right after that.
Oh yeah, actually, I think Lazio did win. Did Nesta? I think didn't Nesta win the Scudetto with Lazio?
Yeah.
I'm pulling up the stats right now.
My first, before the competition started, I was in Atalanta.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you were high on Atalanta. You did tell me that. So, Ricardo here says Roma. Does he mean Roma are the favorites to win? Everyone in the chat, put who you think. If you could have to choose one team to win the Scudetto this year, who will it be? For me, right now it's Milan, but it can change. Okay, Eastbourne. What's up,
I'm gonna
Eastbourne?
say Salernitana.
Nice, Roy.
Hey, Antonio, I need to ask a question.
What is it, Roy?
Who is the Melon?
I don't know. Like, I don't know him personally. I saw him in the chat.
Don't lie to me.
Why would I lie to you?
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
Why would I lie to you?
You blocked him yesterday or her.
No, because
Who is he? Is
the
he
person.
your brother, sister, cousin?
No. I don't know the person in real life. I just know them from the stream because they always troll.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
just say it's your brother. It's fine.
It's not my brother. Yeah. Roma 2000 and oh, they're saying Roma won it in 2000. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so they're saying they were the last team to win. I mean, I guess 2000 isn't too long. I mean, it's like over 20 years ago, but Eastbourne. Where's James? That was just fake news. Milan wasn't interested in James. There was never confirmation. So, oh, trophy.
What do you think about that?
I'm very happy. Good memories. Okay,
Did
guys.
you see that everybody went off on Lucas the other day?
Which day?
I think it was the post match against Cagliari.
I wasn't. I didn't see that, but I can only imagine. You know, Lucas is a pretty interesting character. I'm guessing school is starting soon, so he's probably been busy with that. But yeah, I did put the link in the chat. If you guys scroll up, you'll see it to join. Because we're doing open lines right now, looking for any topics. I mean, the league is probably the most important, and I guess the mercato. But we talked about our ratings. Eastbourne just came in and said mercato rating 7 out of 10, which is pretty fair, I would say. Um, it's tough because we didn't get any amazing. We got Giroud and Tomori Tonali. Signing those players is important. I would say a 7.5 or 8.
But the thing is that a lot of people need to realize that because the players are so young, it's like every year it's like five players. Like players end their ceiling around 32, 33. That's some of them keep even going up, from there. So we have our players literally just started playing professionally. If you relatively, so every year it's like getting new players, even Krunic. Look at Krunic's growth. It's like we have a new player.
Yeah, okay, people are saying that on paper we haven't improved that much from last team, but our players individually are definitely improving. Pioli said it himself. Leao, Tonali, Krunic look much better, and from what we've seen on the field, they do look much better. So I don't think he's lying about that. So I'm excited about those players because they were a little bit under. I mean, yeah, I'd say all three of them were underwhelming for their first, like last season. Tonali's first,
Antonio.
But of course, we'll give them time.
Antonio, remember that this is the trajectory of every single play.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying most people are taking that for granted. Yeah.
True.
Okay. I'd say 6 out of 10, but if some of the signings, which I'm a bit frustrated with, Messias, okay, impressed me. I'm happy to bump up my rating. I like Messias. I'm excited about that. I think statistically he's good and good personality. I think he'll be at least good in Serie A. He's consistent. He gave a lot of. He played well for Crotone. Like they had a good attack last year. So, the starting lineup predicted for this season, if everyone is fit by various sources, is the same like last season except for Magnan. I guess that's true because Zlatan, if he's healthy, he plays. Yeah, I guess because I don't think Pioli is gonna. I mean, Giroud is good, but I mean, what if Pioli decides to change the formation, though? You never know. It depends on who they're playing. Pioli has a lot of flexibility with formations, with players. I think this season we can kind of judge Pioli more because he's got the players to manage Europe and the league. So if we do bad in both Europe and the league, that's not good for Pioli. So it's going to be because he's got the resources now to do better. So we'll see. We definitely strengthen. 1 point for not able to sell / replace unwanted. That's true. Conti and Costi stayed. We got rid of Hauge, which the coach didn't want. Got rid of other players. Gigio and Hakan left for free, which is kind of not good because they left for free. We offloaded Mete. We didn't sign, and we got rid of other players that are slipping my mind. I can actually pull up. I'll pull up actually the exact like signings and players that we released. And I'll read them out loud. But yeah. Okay, I think Milan could go Berardi in January. Well, yeah, Berardi wasn't sold, and he doesn't want to play. But if it's Milan, then Sassuolo are going to always be difficult because Italian teams always make it difficult to buy for Milan to buy their players. But Juventus can get all these deals and get loan deals for Locatelli and such. So I think it's frustrating. I don't know if it's a possibility, but we'll see. Just disappointed we didn't address a right wing spot. Well, everyone is saying that Messias is a trequartista, which he can be, but he can also play right winger. He's a left-footed player. He can be an inverted winger. I've seen a lot of him. He plays in like the central right to right side, so he can be a right winger. And we still have Costi and Salamaker, so we have a lot of depth.
Look at it that way, but for me,
for you, what?
Salamaker is top notch.
Okay. I mean, the way we play, and also Florenzi. Don't forget, Florenzi can play there. He's played there off the bench. I am going to create an arrivals banner, like officially all the players we signed. And Roy, you tell me which signing is your favorite and which one are you most excited for so far?
Florenzi by a million miles.
Okay, why?
Because he can play 3 positions. But we're not going to see it for another 2 months. It's going to take a long time before he adjusts.
Yeah, he got called to the national team before Calabria did, which is pretty interesting.
It makes sense. He's already part of that machine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any arrivals here. I'm typed out a good amount of them. I know we did get around 10 new players. So, yes. Okay. Oh, okay. I forgot about Tomori Tonali, of course. And Ibrahim Diaz on loan, which is important. Yes. Okay. This should be. So, okay, this right here, these are the official arrivals. It's hard to tell if, okay, technically, you could put, I think Cuenca is technically a Milan player, but these Primavera players are hard to track. But we saw pictures in Casa Milan of all of these players. So, yeah, let me just scroll back up and see some other comments. We can't let the bench players like Casincotti have a good amount. We can let them have a good time in Coppa Italia. Yeah, I think the same way, but the thing is there's not really too many Coppa Italia games. It depends how far we make it. I mean, I would love if our bench players did well in the Coppa Italia and they end up winning it for us. Like imagine if we have like rotational players that can somehow get the trophy. I think honestly, no matter how far we get, I mean, Pioli's going to want to be competitive against good teams, but we have to rotate the squad against good teams in that competition. Um, 8 out of 10 Mercato, great base we've built, very capable of making top four and building on who we have. Renewal of Kessie would put it at a 9 for me. Yeah, the renewal of Kessie would be so important. It's something that scares most Milan fans. But I think hopefully there's another year, or there's a season ahead for them to try to get the deal sorted. I hope he doesn't leave for free, but it's a possibility. Roy may be jumping in and out because he's on the road, guys. So just to let you know. Um, Watch along for France versus Bosnia tonight. Magnan versus Krunic and Teo Hernandez. Don't forget, Teo was called to the French national team. Krunic is going to give them trouble, I think. Brahim Diaz has been playing great as a number 10. This was a great mercato. That's a good point because getting rid of Hakan has given Diaz a lot of room and a lot of responsibility, which he didn't have last season, and except for the end of the season where he started to play a lot. But this is one positive that I'm really taking from this is that opening up Diaz can really make a good impact this season, and we've seen him have 2 great games so far. So I'm excited about Diaz. He could be another world-class player in the making, so excited. Diaz, Tonali, a lot of these players are up and coming, so excited about that. You forgot Teo versus Krunic. Yep, that's what I said. I might be unjustifiably too harsh on Messias. I wanted someone with more quality, but it could be a steal from a relegated team. He has good stats like Robertson and Wijnaldum for Liverpool, etc. So my take on Messias that I said on a couple nights ago is I like the player. I was open. I said I would have preferred Favre because of his age and attacking, like in his style of play, and he was more of a clear right winger. Favre, the deal broke down. We tried to sign him. For whatever reason, the club blocked the deal, not just financially, but also for other reasons. So it was kind of strange. But then, so Messias as a backup option, I didn't mind because I don't think he's a bad player whatsoever. I see a lot of Serie A. I watched him play last season, and he was really good, statistically very good player. So I don't mind this operation. It's not the best way to close the mercato with like a statement signing, because most people are just going to remember this signing as like a deadline day. But I'm happy about Messias. I think he'll give more than what people expect. I got him. Maybe Teo. Oh, okay. So with the French national team, yeah. Bakayoko, love his return. I love Bakayoko's return as well. I think like they did a good job making him remember the good times and how much Milan fans love Bakayoko. Good depth signing. Hopefully he can give more than what he gave at Napoli, but hopefully Brest remain in the relegation zone so we can snap up Favre cheaper than. Yes, but then other teams are going to probably try to sign him too because there's interest from Bayern and other teams. He's a very interesting player, youth French league player, or youth French national team player. He was, I think, Monaco, so he's interesting. I would have liked that signing, but Messias is capable. So let me go back to the arrivals. I just ask, out of these arrivals, who do you think? I would say name your top 3 favorite or most impactful players out of these this season. It's tough because there's going to be Tonali, Tomori, Magnan, Giroud, Brahim, those players. But then if you guys have... So we'll do that, and then we'll do top 3 players that can exceed expectation. But first, I want to see what you guys think of the top 3 players here that have the best chance, that will just play the best. And actually, Rohit is here, and Rohit is familiar face. We're just talking about the arrivals of the mercato. How are you doing, Rohit?
Thanks, Antonio. So, what's your rating for this transfer window?
I would give it a 7.5 or 8.
Yeah,
We
even
did what we could.
I concur with you. I think it's a 7.5.
Yeah, I think we did what we could, but I think if we really wanted to in the attacking department, we could have maybe done a bit better. Either an attacking midfielder or a right winger. Um, I think we could have maybe tried to raise our try to go for another player because we were looking like we wanted to raise our bid for Favre. We got a bit unlucky, but so I think that and also the fact that we didn't renew Kessie is scary to me. So those are a couple of problems that I have. Um,
I think Kessie's renewal gets done maybe in the next few months. I'm not as worried. Um, I think Kessie's also shown the desire to stay here in Milan. If he wanted to leave, he could have left earlier. So I'm not as much as worried. I'm kind of like apprehensive of what we do with Romagnoli, since there seems to be absolutely no news regarding that. And I don't think the Raiola actually sees Romagnoli as a top client where he can make a quick buck out of him, like he does with Verratti or Donnarumma or even Pogba. So I think the Romagnoli renewal also gets done.
okay. Yeah. Wait. So you think that he will renew?
Yeah, I think the renewal happens for both of their clients.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this I think a lot of it hinges on how we do in these few months, like in terms of sporting. I think Kessie maybe would want to have some sort of guarantees that we're going to play in the Champions League again, which is a very tough thing this season because all the teams look very strong. So I still think it happens in the next few months or maybe even in the next 2 weeks, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about Romagnoli, but I hope Kessie gets renewed. I mean, I don't mind both of them getting renewed as long as we don't pay Romagnoli more than what is feasible. I just asked this question. I mean, the first question I asked about our arrivals here is what name 3 players that you think are going to perform the best and have the most impact. And obviously, the favorites are going to be Magnan, Tomori, Tonali, Diaz, and Giroud. So, out of these players, who do you like? If you had to name 3, first I wanted to ask you who would you like narrow it down to? Eastbourne said Magnan, Tomori, and Giroud. So, what do you think?
I'm gonna go a bit out of the box here. I mean, since everybody knows I write for Sempre Milan, I put out some few scouting articles of each player except Mignon.
Rohit,
I'm think
before you say, I was gonna also ask you which out of these players name 3 that are gonna exceed expectation the most. So I was going to ask that if it just so that you know after.
Yeah.
But
So like I was watching Pellegrini the other day, Pietro Pellegrini, and he kind of rubs me off as that kind of a striker who has a huge ceiling and he can actually do well. But I think his injuries have not been kind to him. But if he can stay fit, I think maybe he can have a huge impact on this team. The way he actually plays, it can he can actually he's a very modern striker who has a lot of pace and can hold the ball up. And I mean, he can even dribble past defenders. I mean that's the kind of player that Ibrahimovic was in his younger days. So he actually has that potential. So I think Pellegrini, if he stays fit, if his injury problems does not persist, I think he can actually come through great.
yeah, so if you name so you think so your answer to the question uh can you name 2 other players you think will have the most impact?
Uh, in terms of impact, okay. In terms of impact, I think I'm gonna go with Giroud, Magnon, and if you're gonna consider Tomori, then Tomori as well. I think
Okay.
these three are gonna be the most impactful players. And in terms of underwhelming, I think it's gonna be Messias, Pellegrini, and I think Florenzi also deserves a shout.
Okay. Okay. I like that. The last obviously Adli is not on our team for this year, so that doesn't make sense. Then the last two players are going to be Primavera players. So I would say if I think a lot of people are kind of ignoring Brahim, or maybe it's too hard to get him into the top three. Just for the sake of it, I'll say Manyan, Brahim, and Tomori. I'll leave Giroud out, but of course I love Giroud, but I think maybe Brahim might have a little bit more impact with like assists and goals combined. So I think he's going to be because he's going to be really important. Giroud has to when Zlatan comes back. There's Pellegrini. Giroud might not play as much as we need Diaz to play. So I would say maybe Diaz in that conversation. And then for the other three, for who can exceed the most expectation, I think I'll say Messias. Um, I'm thinking I don't know much about Pellegrini, but I like the player. Um, I don't think I think Manyan will exceed expectations because everyone he's already exceeding expectations because everyone who didn't watch him was already calling him a failure because he's not Donnarumma. So I'll put Manyan in that category also. And I think he'll have a great season, like as good as Donnarumma. He'll have a lot of clean sheets, I think. Um, and the last surprise, either Tonali or Pellegrini for me, because Tonali will improve. I haven't seen. I don't. The thing with Pellegrini that I'm concerned about is I don't know how many games he's gonna have, considering that there's two other strikers ahead of him. So I hope he has enough time to show that he can be. We should like sign him permanently. So what do you think about that? Like with the depth
I
of
I
the team.
remember I don't remember who reported this. I mean, which outlet reported this, but I remember reading somewhere that we are not going to rush Pellegrini. We're going to ease him in because of the like you said, there are two strikers ahead of him. So I think that's going to be a factor. So if we can ease him in, if we can get him past his fitness issues, I think it will give him some time to gain some confidence. And since his idol is Zlatan, I think when you are working with your own idol, you actually have a role model. You can base your game off your role model. It will give him some time. It will give him some relief mentally as well, and mentally and physically. So I like this strategy from us where we are actually kind of easing him in instead of just rushing him in and trying to force the issue there.
Yeah, I like that strategy as well. I think though that strategy and the depth might take away from how many games he'll be able to like perform at a high level because he won't be able to play as many games, which is good. Like I think that's good for him, but it still might not make him as like he won't be able to get as many goals for that reason. But I'm just thinking. I think this is gonna be a great signing. I read your article that you posted about him. It's a really good article, um, and I was just thinking about the player. Um, I was thinking like making comparisons with other young strikers that are talented. Vlahovic for Fiorentina, which is very highly rated, maybe a little bit bigger, but this Pellegrini is also are the same size. They're both very good physically, and they both kind of can hold the play up and they're with their back to goal, so they can maybe be compared. The thing that makes Vlahovic good, I think, is his mentality. Because at the beginning of last season, I was watching Fiorentina play when he wasn't that like established yet, and he didn't like the look on his face because now when I watch him play, he's hungry for goals and he's obsessed with scoring goals. But before he was more shy and he wasn't as good. I think his mentality really. He watches guys like Haaland that go crazy when they score, that want to score goals. That mentality has made him a better player. I think if Pellegrini can learn from the mentality of Zlatan and Giroud and can model his game after them, he can improve. But the thing is, we don't know because he hasn't played that many games. So it can be a very high reward signing. I'm excited. Like he could be an impact signing, come off the bench one day and play great. So when we need him to, so I'm excited for that. Look at
Yeah,
this. Mhm.
actually, it's kind of crazy to think that Pellegrini is still younger than Haaland and Mbappe, and he's actually still a big wonder kid. So I think if we actually can give him that chance and he can stay injury fit, he can actually be a great player for us. And it's only going to cost us 8 million. So this is actually a low risk, high reward transfer.
Yes, yes, that's a great point. His age, only 20 years old. So yeah, I think it's good for him to be back in Italy too. I think he could definitely improve. Um, I look at the chat. Mike better than number 99. Now I love how now a lot of players are being confident. They're saying Mike is better. There's a lot of confidence about Mike, which I like. Um,
Donnarumma's age definitely does give him an advantage. But what I like about Mignon is how he's in control of his penalty box. That's something I've never seen in Donnarumma. Like he's way more like challenging his defenders, and he's like shouting at his defenders like when they're giving the player too much of space. That's something that I've not seen. And even his footwork and the way he rakes in those long balls to accurately to our players, that's also something I never seen from Donnarumma. So this is actually given a different dimension to us. Donnarumma, I know, is only 22. He actually can improve, but at this point, with the impact of both of these players, I just think that maybe Donnarumma has a better. I mean, sorry, Mignon is a better player than Donnarumma.
yeah, yeah, and I think a while ago people would call us crazy for saying that. I think his feet, he's better with his feet. Even though he's riskier because he'll do some crazy things at times. Donnarumma will just kick the ball out of bounds whenever he gets caught out of like the box. Um, but Magnan's passing, his foot, his skills with the ball, his passing is better. I when you say control of the box is one thing. I also think I don't know if you mean this as well, but when I notice a lot of times Donnarumma will go out on like a corner kick or free kick to try to get the ball, but when he many times he misses the ball in the air, and then the whole goal is vulnerable. And Mike doesn't always go out. When he does, he usually catches the ball. In fact, I haven't even seen him miss the ball, unless I forget, maybe against Sampdoria. I don't know if he missed the ball in the air once. I don't remember. But Donnarumma would do that at least like once or twice a game. He did it against Juventus clearly when Chiellini was at the back post and missed the header. He did it in the Euro final when John Stones headed the ball and had an open net, but I forget. I don't either. He didn't make contact with the ball when Donnarumma missed it. So it's something that I did notice, like the aerial like confidence. So I think Magnan is in a very good position right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, we replaced our keeper very expertly. Like all congratulations to our scouting department and our sporting department. We lost a great keeper for free. That's not a great thing, but we actually have replaced him well, so that now we can move on. We can move on. We can move on from Donnarumma.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I was trying to type up the departures. If you maybe there's not much activity going on in the chat. I guess you know what? I think let's talk about Messias again because I you haven't released an article yet about Messias. Have you gotten a chance to watch any whole games of his recently?
no, I haven't seen any full games of him. But I did see some YouTube comps, and I'm not a great fan of that. But from in the little thing I've gathered is that he's actually has good close ball control. So that kind of, I mean, it's very difficult to dispossess people like that when you're having good close ball control. I know a lot of people are like unhappy with his passing statistics, but I think passing is always dependent on the team. Because if you, I mean, as much as stats are uh, like as much as stats are interpret can be interpreted in any ways, the movements that a player makes cannot be accounted for. If your player is intelligent enough and makes great moves, and gets into good passing positions for you to pass, it becomes a whole different story. That's something that stats cannot account for. I think Messias is actually like very underrated. I'm a bit kind of biased towards him because of his rags to riches story. Um, but I think the kind of what I like about these kind of people is that they actually, I mean, we all have dreams. Like you have a dream, I have a dream. Even this guy had a dream. I do not know if he had a dream to play for AC Milan, but I'm sure he had a dream to be a top professional footballer, and
In the
he
Champions League.
yes, and he pursued it at the age of 26 despite all of his economical problems, and he actually reached the top. So I think there we're actually seeing somebody who's very determined and very mentally strong, and a person who's ambitious. So that kind of a person is actually great for the team.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people are. I've seen on Twitter. I mean, obviously, I mean, I guess it could be this story, but he's a bit older. But Jamie Vardy comparisons just based on the story and how he made his way up, and he actually had a great year once he reached Leicester and they won the Premier League. And he did really well. I'm not saying Messias is going to be that good, but Messias has a similar story, and his ambitiousness. If you think about the fact that he qualified into this, he got Crotone into the Serie A. He helped. Then once in the Serie A, if you like, imagine you're just a player who a couple of years before are playing Serie D or amateur, and then you make your way to Serie A with this team, and he has a great season in the Serie A. He's confident enough to dribble players to get the second most successful dribbles, I think, in the league, behind DePaul, if that's correct. Um, he's confident enough to take players one on one. He scored 9 total goals, 4 assists. And he was one of the best Brazilians in Europe playing for Crotone. I like Brazilian players. I think they're very good. So this signing, it's a good signing, and the fact that people are hating on him already, that makes me like him even more in that sense. Um, Also, okay, I'm gonna pull up this departures that I just read. I don't know if I'm missing anybody because so many things have happened. Um, Key names that are not there are Conti and Castillejo. I want to know if, honestly, also Caldara should be on this list. Now that I think about it, you always miss one a player or another. But I want to ask you, what do you think is going to happen with Conti? Are we keeping him, or are we going to release him for free and terminate his contract?
Personally, my opinion is we should keep Conte. I think he gives us options. It gives purely options as to the right wing. We can actually use Florenzi as a wing back or even a right winger, and Florenzi has actually better offensive characteristics than Salamakers does. He can Florenzi can actually cross well. So if you're gonna keep Conte, and I mean when did we sign him? 2017. Yeah. So in 2017, Conte was one of the best right wing backs or right backs in Europe, and all of those injuries took the life out of him. Maybe if we are actually like trying to give him a chance, who knows? He can maybe actually do well. I'm not expecting him to be another Trent Arnold Alexander, but I think he can actually do a decent job as a substitute. And especially when you're having this eight player homegrown rule and stuff like that, it actually makes up the quota with Conti. So I would keep him unless a good offer comes in January where he can go. Most probably, I think he leaves on a free. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I have a couple questions now that you said that. First of all, how many Are we over the limit for the number of players with Conte and Castillejo? Like for like UEFA competitions? Because last year we had to like Hauge couldn't play on the team because we had to choose Maldini over him for that. And so, are we over
No,
that right now?
actually, we can field 23 players, and out of that, eight has to be Italian, I mean, homegrown. It doesn't necessarily have to be Italian. Eight have to be homegrown, and 15 can be from outside. So it's up to Pioli to choose who he wants. So last year we missed out on Hauga not because of Maldini but because of Krunic.
Okay, okay. So basically, for Milan itself, we don't have a limit necessarily, but Pioli has to decide which players that will make the final team for the
Yeah.
European competition. Um,
Yes.
and so, but when is that team due? Because isn't our first Champions League game is coming up soon?
I think the squad will be announced soon. I think all teams have to announce their squad soon, very soon.
Right. It's gonna be. I just added Colombo and Caldara, by the way. I think and I'm sure there's Primavera players that have left, but I know for a fact they have. But I'm not really going to talk about those. But before I get to the other point, I was going to ask about this UEFA rule. These 2 weeks are going to be must be very busy for Pioli. I'm sure the players who aren't on international break, um, I'm sure that they're training at Milanello to get used to their teammates, to get into full fitness like Pellegrini. I'm sure. Um, and also Pioli has to start thinking tactically about the 3 games coming up, Lazio and then Liverpool. So he must definitely be busy choosing the UCL squad. It's very exciting. It must be a busy time for him. What do you think about the preparations? Do you know anything that's happening, or what can you predict is happening right now?
So basically, I think right now the most important part is to integrate the key players. The not the key players, sorry, the new players that have joined the squad. That is Messias, and even though Giroud did score 2 goals, I still saw some like how do you say, team chemistry issues where him and Leo were on different wavelengths. That takes a little bit of time. So I think if I think Giroud is not there for the national squad. So Giroud working with Leao and Salamakers won't be there. He's also selected for Belgium. So Giroud working with Leao will be actually really important. I think even Messias would be thrown into the mix right now. I don't see any changes for the Lazio game unless maybe Kessie or Benacer is fit. If Kessie is fit, I think Kessie gets selected. I don't think Benacer would be selected over Tonali anytime soon because Tonali is just like he had a MOTM kind of thing against Cagliari. So I think Pioli wouldn't want to upset that, and maybe he wants to play the same team against Lazio. Against Liverpool, I wonder if he will go for a three at the back, like what Chelsea did. I was really
Hmm.
intrigued by the way Chelsea actually kind of negated their wide. I mean, Liverpool actually do not have a creative midfield. They actually rely a lot on counter attacks on their two talismanic wingers in Salah and Mane. And you also have Firmino or Diego Jota, who can actually act as a false nine, and he can even play as a trequartista. So they actually have a different thing, and obviously then you have the two great fullbacks in their team, that is Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's gonna be tough. So I wonder if we will shift to a three at the back, something that Pioli has spoken about. If we do, that would take. Playing a three at the back would be a bit different for us because we are not used to playing a three at the back. I don't know if any tactical preparation has taken place earlier in the like preseason for playing a three at the back. But if we do play three at the back, I'm not going to complain because I think a three at the back is actually really going to help us to kind of negate the kind of it's like Liverpool actually like to play bring out a two player versus a one plus situation in the wide areas and kind of beat the man. So what Chelsea under Tuchel, what Chelsea did was they actually played three at the man and they pressed really well and kept Liverpool to the sides, and Liverpool were actually shackled. So I wonder if they can actually kind of play that kind of a system. It's difficult. It's difficult to predict. And the most important thing that I like about Milan here is that we are actually an unknown quantity right now, right? Even for our fans and even for the people outside of the club, we are an unknown quantity because last season everybody expected Manchester United to have a very easy win given their stature, but we actually played really well.
Yeah, yeah. And the three at the back, would you think we would play like a 3-4, a 3-5-2, a 3-4-3, 3-4-1-3, the 3-4-1-2? Raheed actually just signed off, so he'll probably be back soon. But it's interesting to see that, like, to think, okay, Romagnoli, Tomori, and Chiai are all at the back together. I would say Tomori. The thing is, Romagnoli's a left center back. Tomori has been playing left center back, and on the left side, you're going up against Mo Salah. I don't know if I trust Romagnoli against Salah, guys. I can just imagine Salah, taking shots and Romagnoli backing off and giving him clear shots on the goal. Salah can just curl it in far post, so that's very dangerous. Let's look at the chat a bit. PSG will now stop pestering us for Teo, considering they said Nuno Mendes. I saw that. Yeah, PSG are insane. 40 million. I mean, this loan 40 million option to buy. He was a very talented player, and they just, of course, they get everyone they want. So, homegrown players mean that they should have played in the league for 2 years at least, not necessarily Primavera players. I did see that, and I was actually going to ask Rohit what he thought about Pellegrini, because I'm pretty sure he classifies as a homegrown player because he played in the youth systems in Italy. So I don't know if that counts. Other than that, go back to this. Yeah, so these are just the departures. Conte and Casti are still in. Okay, Rohit is getting a call. So, Eastbourne. UEFA defines a locally trained or homegrown players as those who, regardless of their nationality, have been trained by their club or by another club in the same national association. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. So, and then for at least 3 years between the ages of 15 and 21. So I believe Pellegrini would count as this, would fit. So Pellegrini would count. Maldini definitely counts, and we have Italian players. Kessie is a homegrown player. Eastbourne is saying, yeah, we definitely meet the requirement. I mean, if we didn't, we'd have to sign players that did. So we will be flexible, but that means that we might have some players that we think are good that get snubbed from the team, which is kind of upsetting. I'm sure I have a bad feeling. I think Kalulu is going to have a hard time getting minutes. He's with the French U21 team now, so at least he's playing. But I'm surprised we didn't loan Kalulu out because we have so many right backs. We have Conti. I mean, Conti's not going to get any minutes. Let's be real, because we have Kalulu, Florenzi, Calabria, and then on the right wing we have plenty of players. So Kalulu, unless you want to slot him in at center back, he'll get minutes. But some of these players are going to be are going to be craving minutes. I honestly think we should have loaned Kalulu out. But yeah, we're going to have to manipulate the team in order to get everyone to fit. Okay. So, all right. So before we were talking about the Scudetto leaderboard, I think I think I might close the stream in like maybe 10, 15 minutes, not keep it too long. We had an earlier one. But we're talking about the Scudetto leaderboard, and people are saying Roma is dangerous. I still say Inter, Milan, Juventus, one of those teams are going to win the Scudetto. I'm curious to see uh, who you guys think. How about this? Name one team that you think is can seriously is I don't want to say can win it because honestly that's very subjective, but a team that's being maybe undervalued and a team that's being overvalued. I'm sure people are going to say that Roma is is valued very highly right now. Same with Lazio, um, and at the same time, Napoli may be kind of quiet. Atalanta are a little bit. They started very slow. So, what's up, Skillard? How's it going, man? Um, Kessie, Calabria, Romagnoli, Maldini are some of the homegrowns. Yes, yes. We have plenty of homegrown players. Yep. How's it going, guys? What's going on? Rohit was just on, but he had to get off briefly, so we're having a good conversation about the departures. Skillard, should we start Krunic against Lazio? That's my question for you. Because unless Kessie's fit, he's probably going to start again. It's interesting. We're talking about the importance of these 2 weeks. For Pioli, he's going to have to choose his UCL squad. He's going to have to train the players that just came in, build up that chemistry. So it's going to be busy at Milanello. I want to see the updates from the team about the training sessions. I do like those to see who's training. Giroud is a big name who's staying. Ooh, Skillard. Kessie should be benched if he doesn't sign. No, I can't agree with that. We need Kessie. Kessie's our best player, one of the top 3 best player on the team. As much as it's frustrating, to be like the most competitive, we need to have Kessie playing. And I think Kessie will resign, honestly. Although there's a chance he won't because that's happened before. So, what do you think about Romagnoli, Skillard? Should Romagnoli be benched? I'm curious about that. In the chat, tell me, should we sell? Should we let Romagnoli leave for free? Improve our offer to renew him? Or, I guess, tell me what do you guys want to do with the fate of Romagnoli? We need at least 60 million, but we pissed that away. He has no incentive to sign. So I'm guessing from what you just said, you don't like our mercato, and I guess that since you weren't on, we've done a lot of talking about the mercato ratings. So tell me what you think, Skillard. Also, if you can, we did put the link in the chat if you want to join, since it's getting a little lonely. We have the link way up in the chat. I can actually copy and paste it again if you want to join. Actually, Rohit just joined back, so. Hi, Rohit.
So sorry, I got a call. I'm at work, so I got a call, so I had to take it.
That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, if you guys want to join, you can. But yeah, Kessie is the Kessie Renault situation is tough. I think. Well, I don't think I can't agree that we pissed away this money because I think we made smart investments, but. Romagnoli is going for free, at least 15 million pissed away. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I was looking at Milan's finances over the last 8 years. So we accumulated close to 800 million in the last 8 years in terms of losses. So the question is like, I mean, everybody's asking Elliot, why aren't they investing? So FFP aside, why would why would anybody invest so much of money into a club which is making 100 to 200 million losses every year? It's kind of I mean, we are financially extremely crippled. We have even West Ham outbidding us for players. It's becoming really funny that that Milan fans still expect the kind of transfers we had during Berlusconi with just one season of Champions League. So the mercato I know is underwhelming from the past, but I think this is the best we can do unless teams are ready to accept loan with option. And since there's a pandemic, even other teams are also at the end of their finances. I mean, CSK Moscow actually had a 24 million debt and 100 million loss this season. So they actually wanted quick money to cover their losses. So they couldn't sell Vlasic for a loan with option like how we offered them. So I
Hmm.
mean, this is the issue that everybody is facing. So we cannot expect other teams to you know like do a favor for us unless we actually pay the money up front, and that's something we actually don't have.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Guys, we have Skillard. Skillard is joining us. It is in the morning. Skillard, how are you doing?
Not too good. Just woke up and seems that we didn't get some business done, but okay, we got some players in. I don't know what's being said a bit earlier. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, in the case of Kessie and Romagnoli, I'm not gonna go too deep about why it wasn't done, but all I'm gonna say is that when it comes for the next mercato, or maybe even over the next few months, or maybe even the whole of the next season, I don't want to hear from management that we don't have money, because there was money on the table for Romagnoli and Kessie, and if we don't get those things signed in the next few months, which I don't think we will, because these players have no incentive to do so, the money is gone. So I understand, and I'm fully behind the objective is that we don't want to overpay and we want to sign youth talent. Fine then, but there are good deals that are not within the range of 10 at 20 10 or 15 million, and we need money for that. And I wouldn't even mind if they say that okay, we had to sell Kessie to offset some of the debt in the club. I'm also okay with that because it's for purpose. But letting these players go for free, I don't see the logic in that.
Well, before Rohit gives his answer, obviously they're not going to be looking to let these players go for free. I think they're going to try and negotiate for both deals. Obviously, Kessie's negotiation, they're going to try to get done more than Romagnoli's because Romagnoli's is a bench player, of course,
No, but
right now.
Antonio, what
But
incentive? What makes you think that they'll get it done now? Because they couldn't get it done 3 months ago.
I think that they're going to have. I think they're going to look at the situation, and I'm not saying they're going to give Kessie 7 million, but I think they're going to improve their offer a little bit over the course of the year.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If they wanted to improve it, they would have done it. It's not going to happen. This is what I'm seeing now.
Well, maybe they were focused on the mercato this summer, and therefore they wanted to wait a little bit. I don't think we should all say that automatically Kessie is a done deal. He's gone. I think that there's still hope that he stays. There's not much information about it as of now, like what's going to happen, because this is probably going to be another long saga. Um, I hope we saw with Chalanoglu that we offered a little bit more, a little bit less than what he ended up getting at Inter, and he ended up leaving for that much. So I don't know if that happened. That'd be very upsetting. Oh, Rohit Skiller just left, but do you want to answer his question or
Yeah,
his concerns?
yeah. So I have actually two, I mean, like many possibilities on that. He said we shouldn't complain. We don't have money. I don't understand how that's a fact. We actually do not have money to spend. So right now, I think Kessie is on a wage of 2.2 million net, and he's asking. I mean, if the reports are true, we are offering around 5 to 6 million. So which is like double of what he's earning. I mean, more than double of what he's earning right now. So, I mean, what's not to say that if Kessie is gonna have a doubled salary, then why would Theo or Benacer or even Calabria or even Romagnoli or somebody else like keep their mouth shut? What's to
No,
say that they all wouldn't want more salaries at there? So
Rohit.
that's one point.
Sorry to interrupt.
One minute, one minute. Second thing is, I mean, how many real life offers did we have for Kessie this year? Nobody actually came. I mean, there were a lot of rumors that Liverpool are interested. Liverpool are looking at his transfer market value. Tottenham are interested. Tottenham this, Tottenham that. There were just a lot of rumors. There were actually no offers on the table for Kessie. It's actually come to this point that teams like Tottenham and Liverpool and PSG and all of these big teams are actually making other players, even Bayern Munich as well. They're actually making players run down their contracts on purpose and actually getting them for free. And the only thing they have to lose is pay a big fat commission to their agent and maybe a higher what do you say, a higher wage. That's all they have to do. So they actually do not have, like, they do not have enough money. They do not have to waste a transfer fee. So there's actually no offers. So as part of the management, what do you do for this?
Hmm.
Okay. I just want to wait into that. It's been several months. If he, if we were going to sell him, and if we were actively looking to sell him, I'm quite sure a deal could be done. Because you have to admit, any money is better than zero. And you said it just now. If you cannot afford it, why are we still playing this game with these players? If you cannot afford the salary, then you have to do something. This is my point. Nothing is being done.
Well, just to answer
How do
before
you
Rohit answers, I just want to say I that's why I'm optimistic that that the club is going to try to resolve this contract situation. And I think that just because it hasn't happened yet, I mean things can change very quickly. So that's what I think would make logical sense here is that they're going to try to solve this situation. Maybe there's optimism from Kessie's side that they want to try to close the deal. You don't know how they're actually talking. It's different because Donnarumma's agent was very hostile and Hakan was very stringent with his. He wanted to leave for his wages, but maybe Kessie's they're more lenient and they want to get the deal done. They're just playing hardball. So what if that's the situation?
Okay, at that
yeah,
point, but put yourself in
yeah
Kessie's shoes. Why would you want to sign now? If you didn't sign before, and if you say that they're now going to work on his deal, why wasn't it done earlier? I mean, I have that bit sliver of faith that there's the next few months or even before January that they can get it done. I'm not discounting that fact, but I don't see it happening because if it was going to be done, it would be done. This is my point.
I think
Uh,
I think you actually I think you actually answered your own question there. Like if it has to be done, it would have been done earlier. I mean, how do we know that like Milan had not tried and negotiated earlier with the agent or with the player himself?
No,
I mean,
I'm sure they.
if
So go ahead.
yeah, I mean, if I'm sure I mean, we are living in a digital world, so it doesn't mean it's not like I mean, you have to send a pigeon carrier to the player's office, and he has to send another pigeon carrier. You have WhatsApp, and you have so many emails and stuff like that. I'm sure there would have been negotiations earlier. But obviously we cannot, have any facts to verify that. But the question is, if the player is not willing to sign, then what do we do? So then the question arises: why didn't we sell? To sell a player, the player needs an offer. An interested club should come forward with an offer. So if an interested club does not come forward with an offer, again, what do we do?
Okay, let me answer that. If an interested club doesn't come forward with an offer, with Kessie and how he's been playing or how he's been performing, not only in the last season, but even if you judge maybe the last 18 months or maybe 24 months, if you want to round that up, don't you think we could have at least offloaded him for some amount of money? I mean, are you saying that no one in the entire world wants to buy Kessie if you
If
actively pursued it?
Okay, there are two ways of seeing this. One, if you are, let's say, if you are a team that is really interested in Kessie, why would you actually spend money now when you can actually get him for free next year? And you just have to pay, like I said, you just have to pay a big fat commission to his agent. And two, if they actually wanted him, they would have actually come forward, and they would have. I mean, there would have been actually a lot of rumors regarding this. At least I think maybe Romano or Di Marzio would have picked it up. I mean, even though we actually work in a lot of secrecy nowadays, but if a team does not come forward with a solid offer, then there is nothing a club can do about it.
No, but Rohit, I don't think it's a case of whereby if we wanted to sell someone, we just need to sit in our office and wait for an offer to come. If you want to get some money, something would be done. I'm sure the agent would be involved. But this is the
So
point that I was
okay,
even
okay,
mentioning
Skillet,
in the
I have
previous.
a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you sell a player, man?
How do I sell a player? Like the
Yeah,
case that
how do you
happened
sell a
before,
player?
it's either you can approach the club or you tell the agent this guy is going to be transfer listed, or it's either you sign or
And
I'm.
how do you know? And how do you know that's not been done? How do you know that Maldini or Gazidis or Massara has not told the agent of Kessie that if you are not if you are not renewing, you're gonna get sold soon.
Yeah, but how do you know it's been done? I can pose the same question to you. How do you know it's been done?
If it would have been done, then obviously some offers would have come in. But then again, I have a question. Why would any smart club put an offer for him?
If they
Why would
needed
any
someone, they would have put offer. Like in the case of, I think there's some players also that have been sold in the last year of the contract. He's
I mean,
not. He's not the only player who is in the last year of his contract that didn't get moved.
PSG got Sergio Ramos for free. Real Madrid got David Alaba for free. Why couldn't Bayern and Real Madrid sell earlier?
No, but if this is the point, if he's part of the team, there are things that can be done. If in the case of Sergio Ramos, if he really wants to earn his salary, or if he really wants to stay in Real Madrid, fine then.
He
But in the
wanted to stay
case,
at Real Madrid. The answer is he actually wanted to stay at Real Madrid, but Real Madrid was not ready to give a 34-year-old the kind of money he was asking for. So they moved him on and they replaced him with David Alaba.
yeah, but this is the point. In the case of Sergio Ramos, he is 34 years old. Kessie is not in the same situation. You have to agree he's not in the same situation. Other than his contract, he's not the same player.
Sorry?
Kessie is not the same player. And by the way, in the case of Sergio Ramos, if Real Madrid were to say that, even I don't know, because we were linked with him as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
If Real Madrid were to say to give to any club, uh, can you take this player off our hands, just for 1 million, at least for some money? Yes, some clubs might not be able to afford his salary, but at least you would be able to get some discussion going about, okay, can this deal even be made? I'm not so sure if this has even happened for Kessie or even for Romagnoli.
I mean, this is actually football players we're talking about, not some salesman objects. Like, do you want my player? This is actually football. Football players. This is not a salesman job where you actually go. I mean, Maldini or Masara has to go about asking clubs, "Do you want my player?"
No, but
Obviously,
this is what I
I
was
mean,
saying. It is not
obviously
just
you have so much of
Maldini.
emails and social media these days. I mean, even if you're, I mean, even we know that this is the kind of situation that's happening. How do we not know that there is so much of things that's happening in there?
No, but
Obviously the player's agent does know this is the situation. Obviously Maldini may have told him, but again, why would any smart club want to spend a single buck on him? Single buck on him. Why would any club, especially in this pandemic situation where many clubs have lost hundreds of millions of euros?
okay. So then it comes to the next part of the thing. If this is going to happen for Kessie, are you then going to say that, okay, for the next season? Because I think you've seen on, I think it was Sempre Milan or somewhere, they posted the list of players with contracts expiring next year. Are you
Yeah.
then saying that next year Milan is capable of signing any of those players? No problem.
If the financial conditions are within our
You
parameters, then
see,
maybe yes. Then
financial
yes, we can
conditions.
sign the player.
It's about money, yeah.
It's all about money.
Then why?
You think
the-
you are you telling me that Vlasic went to West Ham because West Ham is a great Champions League team or something like that?
No, this is the thing. You need to have money, and if you
Yes,
let players go for free, this is opportunity that has been missed.
but if again the question is if the player is not ready to renew, and the second thing is that if there is no offer for the player, then how do you do so? What do you do about it?
No, but this is the thing, Rohit. You and you could say the same thing for me as well. Yeah, neither of us know that there was or wasn't offer for the player. If you're saying
Yes,
that there's so much secrecy,
if I mean,
But well,
yeah, Antonio.
the thing, I mean, this is basically the crux or the core of this debate is we don't know. Did the club, could the club try, like what Skillard said, could the club have tried to maybe make it known to other teams that he would be for sale or they were trying to get rid of him? I honestly think that they are not trying, they wouldn't want to do that this transfer window. Um, but then Rohit is saying that what if, like, how do we, he's basically saying that you can't. I mean, Rohit, can you say your point again, just so I don't mess it up? And then, but the thing is, this we don't know basically what the club's position is and what they're doing behind the scenes. So I think it's this debate is very difficult because we don't know what's going to happen in about in after the season ends. What Kessie is if he renews, if the team is confident in renewing him, because it is a loss if we can't get any financial value for a player who's wanted by top teams in Europe, of course. But if there's a hope of renewing him, and if it's just wasn't possible to sell him this window because clubs are running him down for free, then what can we do? But could we have tried to sell him? That's the question. That's the question of this debate. So.
Yeah,
I think
so
Raheem, you can say your point.
let me open with an example. Let me open up with an example. So yeah, you had the whole Lewandowski thing with Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So I think at that point, even at that point, Lewandowski was one of the best strikers in the world. But he was not. No matter what Borussia Dortmund did, they were not. I mean, he was not ready to sign that renewal, and he actually so Bayern actually cleverly made him not to sign a renewal and made him run down his contract and got him for free. So that's actually a real life example. If we can actually I mean I'm sure that we all can agree that Dortmund has a better management than AC Milan does, or I mean everybody kind of considers Dortmund a better management than AC Milan. So the question is why can't a better management actually kind of renew or even get a single penny out of the one of the best players in the world? I mean, Kessie is not the best player in the world. He's not even played one Champions League. I mean, we cannot actually triple or kind of give him four times the salary just because he's asking for it. The question is, how do you sell a player when there is no offer? Let's say if let's say Tottenham themselves or Liverpool want Kessie, so they actually had a meeting with George Antagnia, who is the agent of Kessie, and they say that Antagnia says like he only has 1 year on the contract. So Liverpool say, okay, let me run, make your agent run it down and make your player run down your contract. We'll get him for free, and I'll give you 10 million commission, and your player gets 10 million wages. What can we do about it?
no, but Rohit, this is the thing is that then why are we even bother paying for any player in the mercato then? You might as well you eye the next window. Everyone who's expiring, okay, I'll wait. I'll maybe make a move for a pre-contract in January. We can do that with any player. Then there's no point going for this loan with option, all this nonsense. Then
Yeah,
just wait for the contracts to
yeah,
finish.
we
Then
can, we can. I agree with your point. We can agree a pre-contract, but then again, there's a lot of hidden fees that only comes out during when you actually check the club's accounts. A lot of hidden fees comes out, like agent fees. There was a player called Bernard, if anybody remembers. when Leonardo was our technical director, there was a player called Bernard who played for Shakhtar Donetsk, and he was a Brazilian. So we were very close to signing him, and so we had an agreement with him for 3 million salary, net salary. So that's 6 million gross. That's like 6 million gross for 3 years. That's 18 million to 20 million spent on the player. He was a free agent. But what was a stumbling block for AC Milan was his agent wanted 10 million in commission, and it's not, and this 10 million is actually cannot be paid in installments. It actually has to be paid in one go. So the total cost of the operation jumped from 18 million to 28 million, plus whatever bonuses and commissions, whatever bonuses the player can earn. So a free agent is actually a very difficult thing to sign, because it's like the agent has a lot of power in these negotiations, because it can come up to an auction. You can There was also another player called Max Meyer, who from Schalke. So when Passone and Mirabelli were running AC Milan, Max Meyer was an upcoming prospect in Germany. So there were three clubs after him: Barca, Milan, and Crystal Palace. Barca exited the negotiations early, so it was between Milan and Crystal Palace. We could offer 4 million to 5 million wages, and Crystal Palace offered 7 million wages. It was actually a kind of it actually became an auction there. The agent auctioned his player off with a increase in commission. I mean, that's the main problem of these pre contracts and free players. There's a lot of auction that goes on, and there's a lot of hidden fees. I think Mino Raiola himself pocketed 20 million in commissions for Donnarumma from PSG, and PSG can pay that kind of money as well. But when we are looking at our club, we cannot handle those kind of things. So that's why we are actually not signing these kind of players.
Okay, if Skillard wants to reply one more time, we can do that. And then I want to kind of get to the chat a bit and maybe change topic. But Skillard, do you want to reply?
Yeah, so you just mentioned, Rohit, about some of the advantages not having to deal with the free agent status. I mean, in the case of Kessie, again, I repeat, yeah, neither of us on this chat know whether a deal or maybe some clubs were fishing for him or what, or maybe a transfer was right. No one really knows, yeah, for sure. But if a club doesn't want to end up in a, like you mentioned, Rohit, like in the case of an auction or trying to settle this agent fees or only want to make a quick deal, there is a chance it could have been done in the last mercato, but that is over now. So this is the point that I'm making, is that what effort was made to say that, okay, it's either we're going to get the renewal done or we're going to have an option. Because everyone has to admit now, at this stage, if you're not counting the January or the winter window, there's only one option. You either getting him renewed or he's leaving for free. There's actually no option. It's only one: renew or he's leaving. And we've all seen in very recent history how that has worked.
How has that worked?
Yeah, the players have left.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of financial impact, it actually does not have any much significance, except the players' wages actually go. Only in economics you can say there's an opportunity cost loss. And in the case that we could have made this much money on him, so that's the only financial impact that has on our balance sheet. But anyways, since we're on this topic, the question is, how do we not know? I mean, we can go on for this topic. How do we not know that there has been no efforts made to kind of come to an understanding between the agent and the management? We have our own limits. We cannot offer money like how PSG does. In our wage bill is not even like the top 10 in English Premier League. So how can we offer something that we do not have the money for?
Okay, just one final thing. I
Okay.
won't make it long. Sorry,
That's cool.
Antonio. All I'm going to say is that my frustration is more towards the fact that our options have become limited. That's about it. Whether it's happened or not, things happening in the background. Even I'm not at the club to know exactly what is going on, but all these reduced options is making me look at what's happened recently, and I'm not in favor of that. That's my only take.
Actually, I wanted to add to Skillet's point. Unless and until we actually become a better financial team, like we become better financially, I think this is going to be the modus operandi of AC Milan. We actually need a stadium. We actually need better TV deals. We need more income. Unless and until that happens, and the way that English Premier League is growing, we are seriously going to be outbid, and you know we're going to have to be like how France is like be like a training team for young players, and then it gets picked up by these players, and then they kind of bid 50-60 million for a 20 million player. That's the kind of thing that's going to happen if some effort from the side of the this Lega Serie A and from UEFA is not made very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very
undoubtedly I
that's
blame
concerning.
the league. But here's the funny thing: if Krunic is thinking of pulling the same thing, I'm gonna go berserk. Okay, he's only had maybe 4 or 5 decent games, and I'm really gonna go on a rant.
Nah, I think Krunic deserves 6 million salary. Give it to him. Give it to him.
If he thinks that, oh, like Manchester City gonna come for like a 10 million per year, and he's running down his contract, dude,
Dude,
I'm really gonna get a banner. I'm gonna go San Siro. I'm gonna get a banner out.
you don't want to sign the Bosnian Player of the Year. He's already been courted by Munich and the Manchester City. He's gone. He's gone, guys. Sorry.
I mean,
At this rate, the only
Pep sees
renewal I'm confident we'll be able to get done is Daniel Maldini. He's the only guy who's for sure gonna renew.
Pep sees himself in Krunic. It seems a tactical genius.
No, but guys, you have to admit, he only started playing well after he got the ball to the face in Sampdoria. I've been keeping an eye on him, by the way. It's that ball to the face that woke him up.
I was proud of him.
I hope we can smash that on Castillo as well. Maybe he starts playing like Mohamed Salah tomorrow.
Yeah, we need to pay one of the defenders to do that in their team. Okay.
Guys, I gotta get ready for work. I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Yeah, it was
see ya,
good.
Bruno.
Good
See ya,
seeing
Rohit.
you,
See ya.
Skiller.
Good to catch up with you guys.
See ya, bro.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Look at the chat. Will Tatarusano be our second goalkeeper? Will someone from Primavera come up? I'm assuming that Magnan won't play every game. I mean, Magnan, if he's healthy, is going to be playing every Serie A and Champions League game. I'm sure he's going to rotate the team for the Coppa Italia, and there's Plizzari from the Primavera. So I'm assuming Tatarusano is still the second choice goalkeeper, even though he made some mistakes in the preseason. But I think we may see Plizzari. I don't know, but yeah, I would assume Tatarusano is our second goalkeeper for like Coppa Italia games. Any comments, Rohit?
I think Plizzari is just there for the numbers. I mean, in terms of that homegrown rule, I don't see anything else to keep Plizzari. I mean, he was such a huge player that was hyped a long time, but he never actually proved himself in all of his loans in Serie B and Serie C. But then again, a goalkeeper is a very difficult position to judge because you actually do not have a real clean metric to judge because it's actually really difficult. And goalkeepers also mature a lot more when they're older. So it's very difficult, I think. But I think right now, for now, Plizzari is just to make up the numbers for the homegrown rule.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a shot to play him in the Coppa Italia. But then again, Tatarusano probably wouldn't get. He needs minutes to be part of the team. So yeah, I think he's the second choice goalkeeper, Tatarusano. You were waiting for James to sign for Milan on the deadline day. A lot of people were.
Yeah, actually, I think if James is like ready to kind of cancel his contract with Everton, we still have a chance of signing him even if the mercato is over. But
Yeah, I did
that's
see some of those deals that are going through about these players with like Ribery out of contract. Ribery is going to Verona, probably. So there is Like a lot of these players that are just have no team may move around. So that's interesting. And there is no official, since they're not considered transfers. There's no rules blocking them, right, from being
No,
signed.
no. I
My
mean,
question.
once they're, yeah, yeah. Go
I
on.
have a question. What about Mandzukic? Why did we wait to sign him in the winter if he was like with no team?
Because we actually did not. We actually thought that Rafael Leao could be a proper replacement for Ibrahimovic, but that experiment failed miserably, and that's why we actually went for Mandzukic.
But if we wanted to, we
That's
could have
that's
signed him
that's
in the
even
first half of the
that's even
season.
that's even the reason I think we actually signed Hauga, because we actually saw Lea was a sort of a striker, and we actually wanted depth in left wing, so we got Hauga and Rebic to be our left wingers, and Leo as the striker. But that's the experiment that failed.
But in theory, we could have signed Mandzukic like in the first half of the season in between the mercatos, right?
We could have, but
Because
I
he's
don't
not
know.
with the team.
I think we were actually waiting for Conti and Duarte to leave on loan. I think it was. It actually their salaries opened up. The like I there's Conti is earning around 2.5 million a year. So since they left for 6 months, we had both Duarte and Conti left, and we had actually 2 million to spend, and we actually spent that on Mandzukic. So
Mm,
that's how we actually balanced the mercato. The mercato was actually a zero spend mercato in the winter season, because we actually sold, not sold, we actually loaned two players and we used their salaries to take Mandzukic.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Skillard, France versus Bosnia. That's exciting. Vera too is a great player, man, for the French national team in Roma. He's always been good at scoring goals. Um, should have kept Hauge. Oh, let's. This debate has been
No,
going on forever.
I was thinking about something. I don't have anything against Hauga, but there was something that I read the other day which was very appealing to me, and this is actually a choice. This is actually a choice. So I think it was Wenger who actually gave this interview. So Wenger said that there are two options as a football team. One, you can actually take a 20-year-old with a lot of talent, and but he will cost you a lot of points in the season because of his inconsistency. So since you're young and you're inexperienced, he can cost you a lot of points. And then there's on the other side, you have a player who's 26, 27 years old, who's actually, he's kind of reached his peak, and he doesn't need any development. He will cost you less points. So the thing is, in one season, a player like Hauga can cost you more points than a 26, 27-year-old player. But once he becomes 22, 23, he actually becomes a better player and he becomes a world class player. But the 28-year-old player goes on to become 30, 31, and he does not have any kind of ceiling to grow unless you're a guy like Pirlo who actually even grew at the age of 31. That's again a very rare occasion. So this is a kind of choices a manager has to make. Do you cost your team points with playing a player who is very young but has a lot of talent, or do you actually play a player who has less talent but is more experienced and cost you less points? So in this case, it was between Hauga and Rebic, I think. So we went with Rebic because as a team, I don't think we actually have the time to develop Hauga, so we let him go where he can develop. And Frankfurt is a team that is not having much expectations, but as much as expectations as AC Milan does, especially this season, I think our fan base is actually expecting us to win the Champions League. Uh, so, I mean, when that kind of situation comes, I think there is a choice to be made. And personally, I think for me, this is the right choice. I think Hauga is not a bad player. But I don't think he would kind of fit for us, and we can't just keep on experimenting. Uh, Given I know that a lot of people are unhappy with Salamakers and Samu Castillo, but for me, Salamakers offers something different to what Hauga does, and for our system, for our system, uh, I think Salamakers is more important than Hauga.
Yeah, I have to watch more the Frankfurt games to see if like the exact position he's playing because I haven't watched that. I just saw the highlights, so that's interesting. I think they're in the Europa League if I'm correct. So they're playing in Europe. So that's pretty cool. Liverpool got no cash. They only have signed Kanate. Okay. Kessie might be sold during the January transfer window if he doesn't renew. Clubs like Liverpool, Man United. Okay. Interesting point. Why would clubs want to spend any money when the yeah? This is what Rohit was saying. Why would a player renew when he knows he'll get a big payday joining the club for free?
I mean, sorry to interrupt.
Mhm.
This is actually, I mean, sorry to interrupt. This is actually the situation that's going to arise in the next few years if this huge financial gap between the Italian league and the English Premier League or the Spanish league is not so, or even PSG. I'm not PSG is not in any of those leagues. Is not going to be solved very soon. If they're not going to solve this gap, we are going to have a real hard time renewing our players because obviously all of these teams are just going to come and say to their agents, I'll give you 20 million, I'll give you a player a 10 million wage, just run down your contract. I
Yeah,
mean, we obviously cannot match unless and until this bloody FFP is removed, or FFP is a main issue, or I mean, unless the Lega Serie actually pull their pants up. It's this is the situation that every team is gonna have. I think even right now, even Juventus are struggling really bad financially. Inter seem okay, but these three teams, that is Milan, Juventus, and Inter, going financially bad does not bode well for Italian teams at all.
exactly. Super League, come back to us.
There was actually a good theory that went on Twitter, and I don't know how much true this is, but there was actually a proposal to merge the Spanish league, the Italian league, and the Portuguese leagues, and make it one single league. I think
Wow.
this actually would be a greater idea than the Super League because it would be a bit more inclusive, like how people want it. So this would actually be. I mean, when you have Barcelona, Madrid, Sporting, Porto, AC
Benfica.
Milan, Inter Milan, Benfica, Juventus, all in one single league, people would rack up to pay the money. And if a guy like Florentino Perez can manage the league, who has a really good marketing brain, I think it would be a great thing. I mean, unless and until this does not happen, I'm sure AC Milan is going to lose. Kessie, Romagnoli, Ibrahimovic, Tonali, whoever you want, they're all going to go for free to better teams.
That's a good idea. I don't know if combining all three different leagues would be good because maybe a bit too crowded, but combining like two leagues, maybe just two of the leagues, I wouldn't mind. The problem is maybe that would be kind of hectic and never. It's kind of unprecedented. I don't know what the stage of this is, but I know that I heard that they wanted to combine the Belgian league with the Dutch league a little while ago. I'm not sure how far that's going, but I did see that there were strides made to combine those two leagues. But that would be a cool way to challenge the Premier League because you have a big fan bases from Spain, especially. And then if you market the league in a way, if you get the marketing up and if Perez takes control and starts marketing it, you have big games and the league is really competitive and the Premier League can't if that happened, the Premier League can't say that they're the best league in the world anymore. Because if you have Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, other teams, then like AC Milan, Inter, Juventus, all of these teams start adding up and the league becomes even more competitive than the Premier League. So that'd be pretty amazing.
I think this whole competitive thing about the Premier League is actually a lot of clever marketing because the teams beyond the top 5, 6 teams. Uh,
Re-
yeah, sorry.
I
Yeah.
have one
Uh,
one quick point. I think I know where you're going with this, but I know it's just a preseason friendly and stuff. But there are like teams like West Ham because of their financial situation. They beat Atalanta pretty cleanly in the preseason, and they're like these mid-table teams are actually starting to get good, in my opinion, in the Premier League, making it more competitive.
I mean, then we could actually make even a argument that United underperformed against AC Milan, and we were like what Krunic on the left wing, Samu Casleo as our what number 9, and Hakan as our number 10. It's an argument that can be made, but I still think that outside of the top 5, these teams are a bit more clever marketing. I actually think Leicester are a great team, but even then they lost to Spar, Slavia Praha. I think yes, Slavia Praha from
Yeah,
Czech
yeah.
League. So there's a lot of argument to be made. Obviously, City, Chelsea, and uh, Manchester United. I don't know. Manchester United is a very what do you say, unstable team. You cannot predict what they're gonna do next. One day they're gonna win 5-0 and stuff like that. And the next day they're gonna lose or draw 1-1, and then it would be termed as Manchester United. This is the greatness of the Premier League and stuff like that. When actually Manchester United is actually not, I mean, they are not great enough. I mean, they're not good enough for that team, for the league or for the team. So that's the kind of thing that that's the kind of marketing that goes on there.
Yeah, interesting point. If Kessie and Romagnoli leave for free next season, that would be 4 players in 2 seasons. That's not a good sign. It might have an effect on the other players at the club. The management must fix it. Big concerns about those players. I don't want to jump back into that argument, but that's the what. Yeah, is when players and agents are making it that way. Yep, 100%. 4 players leaving for free within 2 seasons. Not a good sign. A little bit of a back and forth here. No love for the clubs. Yeah, it's all about money these days. If Kessie wants to leave for West Ham, a UEFA Conference club at best, and good luck to him because he's not about ambition. Money is more important than ambition, it looks like. I'm still waiting for Chiesa to show up at Casa Milan from last year's media news. And then there's Simakan also, don't forget. Um, see this comment. I am pissed we are out of Hauge. We should have tried him on the right. Yeah. I'm gonna watch more games of Hauge. I'm gonna see. We had time to develop Krunic. Yeah, maybe he's developed this season. He's become prime Krunic, Bosnian Player of the Year. He's gonna win it again this year. We'll see. Can't see Messias being our savior. Maybe not our savior, but he'll be a good player. I think. Had that debate. We can solve the revenue issue by playing both in Serie A and League One, double revenue and hopefully double UCL. We have enough French players for it. That's for sure. Latin League, yeah. So, I guess maybe we should do one more topic because the stream is pretty good length as it is, and it's getting kind of late over here. So, if you want to maybe close it out on one topic, um, I guess. I mean, we talked about financial aspects a lot. Talked about the mercato. I guess let's talk about these next 3 difficult games: Lazio, Liverpool, and Juventus. So, what do you think the strategy of the team should be with rotations and with the mindset of Pioli going into these games, and like how we should approach it? What do you think?
Uh, I know Layat would disagree with me on this, but I still give more importance to the league and making the top 4 next season. I mean, this season, and making it to the Champions League next season for financial reasons and for even attracting players, and just let everybody know that this last year was not a fluke. So I would want us to play our full teams for all 3 games, especially if fitness permits us. And I would want I would want us, as much as I want AC Milan to beat or draw Liverpool. I want us to win Liverpool, Lazio and Juventus, because as of now, Juventus is already 5 points behind us, and that's actually a great thing. I know it's a very early in the season. We just played two games, but having an early lead over a team like Juventus, especially under Max Allegri, who pick up a lot in the second half of the season, it's a great advantage, and I would love for AC Milan to make it 8 points over Juventus and 3 points over 3 point. Oh yeah, I mean I think Juventus played Napoli this week, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Uh,
Yes, they do.
so if Napoli draws with Juventus and they actually lose to us, then I think the gap would be something around. Assuming we win a Lazio game, I think the gap would be around 10 points. A 10 point lead over a natural Scudetto contender early in the season is nothing small. So obviously, I would want us to play our best lineup in the next three games. I hope Ibrahimovic is ready to come back and play. Ibrahimovic and Kessie is ready to come back and play for us in the next three games, because Kessie's presence actually helps, especially against Liverpool. When you have a player like Mohamed Salah, you would want the kind of defensive ability that Kessie brings to the side. So it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. So, to summarize what I think you said, so you would give priority to the league games, but you would, if it's possible, still play the best possible team for all three games, right?
Yeah, I would actually do that.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I still don't prioritize the league because I want to see us do well in Europe. I'm not saying I value any win over the other, but I just play the most competitive team for each one. If we have to rotate, we have options. As long as we don't, I don't see us. I would assume Giroud and Zlatan, if they're healthy, would be playing in all three of these games and not Pellegrini. So that's what I'm kind of saying, is that we need to play with more of our better players that are ready and are proven. Okay, I just see some comments here. I believe this season is Messias' last season in his prime. Next season he'll be 31, so it might be worse. I don't know about that, because there's some player, like, look at players that we have. Let's, like, especially in Serie A, there's a lot of older players that have maintained. They've aged like fine wine. We have older players like Giroud and Ibra that are like. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be good when he's 30, 39 years old, but up until like maybe before 35, 34, for a couple of years, I think he can still be a very good player.
Fabio Quagliarella was the top scorer of the Serie A
Right.
at 36.
Right. That's, I was thinking of Quagliarella. I just never said it, but yeah, he's one
There's
of those
also
players.
Luca Toni, Di Natale. So many examples.
Yeah, and at least in the Serie A, which is what Messias is most reliable for, he's a good Serie A player. I think he'll be useful for us in the Serie A. Um, Next comment. Oh no, I don't even think Messias is that technical. He certainly doesn't have speed either. I hope I'm wrong though. And respect to the story and the management, I don't necessarily agree with this. I think he's technical enough. He takes players on one, and the statistics show that his dribbling stats are good. And also, I mean, his speed, he didn't look slow. He looked like he had decent pace at times. Against the slower Serie A defenders for like the mid-table, lower-table teams, I'm sure he'd be decent. I mean, obviously against like Champions League teams with world-class players, it's going to be difficult for him to be fast and to be have greater quality, but I think he's a good signing. And then the age factor doesn't scare me. It's his ability right now, and I don't think is good enough. He reminds me of Castillo. Again, I disagree because of his willingness to take people on one, and his better offensive contributions. But again, I don't know, he may not play as good with our team for some weird reason. He may be a bit worse than what he
To
was
be
last year.
fair, when Castro came to Milan, he was not this bad. He was actually a decent player. I wouldn't say he was world class or great. He was a decent player who was good enough. I think he scored 6 goals in his first season for us. In Gattuso's season, he actually even scored a header, an outrageous header against Parma. He scored a long range shot against Sassuolo. And then when Suso left, he was actually really great before that lockdown came. After the lockdown, he had that injury, and that was when he actually faded away. And last season was horrible for him. I don't know. I mean, if he's a late bloomer, but if by chance he actually does do well, I hope he can bring out his A game and he can really change himself for us.
Yeah, he's still on the team, so we'll see. I think the fans actually at the recent game cheered him on, which is really nice because he doesn't deserve to be booed and attacked at all. He's never been that bad that he's. I mean, he's been bad, but never like harmed the team significantly. So I don't think and he's always played hard. It's just that his attacking qualities have just not been as good. So I don't know. I think we're seeing a lot of Messias worries. Carlo is not the most confident. Let's hope he's another Casti. I don't think he's another Casti, guys. I mean, I would prefer many other players that were more certain to be better necessarily, but but we're obviously not feasible. Like Berardi, all of these dream signings are not feasible this summer. So I think Messias it's a reasonable move. Um, I wish for Corona, Jesus Corona. He was interesting, but I think I don't know. I like Messias because his experience in Serie A, and obviously Corona looks more like he's could be maybe more skillful off of just pure skill ability, but Messias is effective with his dribbling. He may not look super fancy at all times, but he's effective at jumping players. So Berardi Belotti next summer, huh? Next summer is going to be interesting if we make Champions League again. I will hope there's an improvement in the amount of money that we spend. Because at first everyone was saying that we had 100 million budget, but we only spent like 70 million. So we'll see how much we
Uh,
can spend next year.
Actually, Antonio, I think, how many players did we sign? 10, right? We signed 10 players.
I think around 10, yeah.
Yeah, we signed 10 players, and we still don't have a proper starting in terms of the quality. We still don't have a proper right winger, and if Brahim doesn't come well, we don't have an attacking midfielder. This is the gap that has existed since a long time. We have been a shit team for a long time, and the sins of the past is really coming to haunt us now. So unless I mean that's the thing that we all need to understand. We were not a big team, so we're building the team one by one. Just one. We're not gonna have a Cinderella story one day and just start being like what we were 10, 15 years ago. So I think as fans, we need to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do need to fix the past, but and again, I still believe that the biggest change we can have is if we have a new owner eventually. But I don't know. I hope that next summer we can still improve if we make the Champions League. That's what I would hope. Also, Berardi, we don't know what's going to happen with him because obviously we'd rather leave Sassuolo and see if any opportunities arise, or maybe in January something crazy happens. Okay, wouldn't it be better though to buy Duomo and Bondo for the youth team? Yeah, I would like those signings, but I guess the deals didn't go through for the financial circumstances. They couldn't get them done. Duomo was there was interest, but nothing too serious. But Bondo was pretty close, but they never closed the deal, from what we know. So it's unfortunate. I would have liked to see those deals go through because our Primavera needs some help. We signed a couple of players though, so that's pretty good. Almost had a Cinderella season last year. It was a good
We
season.
we actually did have a Cinderella season
Yeah.
last year. We actually punched above way above our weight. But the good thing about that season is that we didn't have two of our best players for a large part of the season. That's Benasser and Ibrahimovic. So that's one great point that I could make for this season. If we can have Ibrahimovic and Benasser fit for this season and not have too much of injuries, and added to the fact that Leao and Tonali and Salamakers and Diaz are all growing as players and in experience and in quality, I think with the kind of players we have signed, that would actually make a good team. I mean, obviously, we don't have the big names of the past, but we actually can make a good team, just like how Atalanta is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I think the last conversation. I can't go for too much longer. I'm getting tired. I don't want to end too late. But I'm trying to think of the games where we lost points in the second half of the season last year. I think if we had this team with the depth that we have this year against Juventus, Atalanta, against Juventus, we had to famously play Calabria at midfield. Our attack was depleted. Against Atalanta, we had to play Musacchio. I remember was in the game. We had a bunch of absences. Kalulu was the first center back before Musacchio. I think he got injured. Kalulu had to get substituted out of the game. We lost that game to Atalanta. We lost to Juventus. Against Spezia, we were healthy, but a lot of players were just coming back, like from injury. Like Benacer, for example, he looked awful that game. Um, okay, so I think Reed signed off. Basically, my point is, I think we can definitely improve this season. Yeah. Um, yeah, I need some Red Bull. I'm getting tired, man. I'm probably gonna end the stream in a couple minutes. Let me just see the last comments here. We spend most of our money on re-signing our players and replacing outgoing players. That's the reason why we couldn't get anything big in the starting 11, which is a bit sad. Yeah, the fact I guess the Chalanoglu and Gijo thing kind of knocked us. It kind of hit us by surprise because we had to deal with that, and we never really dealt with Chalanoglu. But I mean, Messias I guess can play that position, but we're just adapting, so we had to adapt to that, and that kind of took a lot of energy. So, but then again, I don't know if it was even feasible for us to sign Berardi or any big name player. Um, if we had Krunic, if we had our Krunic now last season, we'd have won the treble. Yeah, maybe if Krunic could have stepped in for Benacer and dominated. Krunic is bigger than Dzeko in Bosnia. Krunic owns Bosnia. He is the president of Bosnia, the leader. He runs the streets of Bosnia. All right, guys. It was a good stream. I am pretty tired. It's late over here. Good morning to everyone in the chat who's waking up. Like Skillard actually just got to work, he said. Looking forward to more streams coming up. International break. Krunic is playing today. Apparently against France, and that is a game to watch. There's other international games, so keep yourselves busy. Watch those games. And the team is getting ready at Milanello, so hopefully these difficult stretch of games coming up, we can definitely get we can perform really well, and I'm excited looking forward. I wish Rohit was here because he's getting a call, and I think I'm just gonna close the stream, but I'm sure he'd say goodbye, and I want to thank Rohit for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have him. So yep, I think that's it, and I think the stream is just gonna close under 2 hours for today. So thank you to everyone who stayed on and supported. I just recently started hosting the shows. Roy's been busy, so I'm happy to do this. And I'm looking forward to the games coming up and to continue hosting. So thank you guys for your activity in the chat and for making this a fun stream. So Forza Milan, and I will see you guys very soon. Ciao, guys.